Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnuvad, Paramahansa Paripurajagacharya Ashtottara Shadasri Srimad Srila Bhai Charan Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। भगवद गीता पाठ करी श्रोता करी भक्त बिंद की जय। गौर प्रमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Prabhus and mothers. Thank you for joining. I am in New Brindavan, West Virginia. Beautiful project, very vast, more than 2,000 acres of land, and many devotees lives here. They are wonderful devotees. Barsana Swami lives here. Beautiful deities. Severe austerities Prabhupada did in 1968-69 to establish this center. Today we have more than few hundred devotee lives. They have their own houses, but early days when Prabhupada started, it was very austere, severe austere. And there was no heater, electricity, but Prabhupada took cold shower and he started translating and dictating them how to build this. So very captivated. So today we're going to recite the Bhagavad Gita chapter 8. Just from Gita Mahatma, I was very amazed reading the glories of this 8th chapter. So let us begin with evoking auspiciousness in our life by uttering these prayers of Mangalacharan. Please join together. Om Ajnanati Mirandhassa Genanjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namo Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Te Bhakti Vedanta Samini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschat Deshatarine Vancha Kalpa Taruvesha Kripa Sindhu Paye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare. So first of all, I feel grateful to be here with all of you. Hare Krishna Prahladananda Prabhu, Anup Prabhu, Jai Prabhu, Krishna Harsha Mata, Mother Padma Devi, Justin Prabhu, Mother Lipi, Somen Prabhu, Kamaniya Prabhu, Mother Dandakesh, Ratiranjan Prabhu, Mother Aruni, and Komadaki Mother Sushilpa. Okay. So, who would like to read? We have a 2 sloka left on the chapter 8. But in the beginning, I would like to just give the importance of about the glory of this chapter. It's very interesting. In Padma Purana, it says that Lord in Vaikuntha is so happy when someone reads chapter 8, because chapter 8 emphasizes of coming back home, back to Godhead. So Lord gets so happy that it says that Lakshmi Devi noticed that Lord is all of a sudden smiling, and he got up from the bed. And Lakshmi Devi said that, my Lord, what's going on? He says, one of my devotee reading 8th chapter. I hope this is happening now. And reading 8th chapter means he will come back to spiritual world, back home. Hare Krishna, Mother Premapada Devi Dasi, nice to hear from you.
Sorry, Prabhu.
No, that's okay. I hope everybody's okay, well in your family.
Yes, Prabhu, we are all good. Thank you.
Good.
We missed you so much, Prabhu.
Well, from next week we'll start. My GBC college graduation took place today, but our course is finishing on Monday. So I'll come back after that. It's very nice. It's just a lot of whole day classes. Just today, I took off just to do this. Okay, so it's just exciting. So whenever you have a free time in your house, if you feel like to draw attention of the Lord, just go read chapter 8. It's very fascinating. In Padma Purana, it says that anytime any devotee anybody reads chapter 8, it draws attention of the Lord. Because Lord, Lakshmi Devi asks, why have you risen so suddenly from your sleep? And Lord Vishnu said, my dear Lakshmi, in Kashipur, on the bank of river Ganges, my devotee is performing great austerity continuously chanting.
Where is he? I have to drop you home,
Chapter
right?
8.
So if you don't mind.
Yes, and
Where is he?
okay. So then Mother Parvati inquired, what about chapter 8? So then Lord explained, chapter 8 talks about preparation to leave this world. How many of you are excited of leaving this world? Are you preparing? What are you doing? I hope you're preparing. This is not a permanent house. This material world is not a permanent house. Whatever you do, job, taking care of children, these are all preparation. So that at the moment of death, neither you or children remember any of this material, but remember Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. So this is very nice. Chapter 8, we are finishing the last 2 verses. And we discussed last week about the spiritual world. And also we talked about supreme destination. I'm just refreshing a little bit. Supreme destination, how it is attained and who. So it mentioned that supreme destination attained by those who depart at auspicious time. Now, auspicious time, the northern side when the sun rotate, northern division. So don't die during the southern division. But then we broke down that within northern division, there is a day and night also. When sun rotates northern division, what does that mean? Means in this middle planetary system, there is a 9 island. One of the island is called Ilabriti Barsha. And the middle of the Ilabriti Barsha is that Sumeru mountain. It's made of solid gold. And that's the abode of Lord Shiva on the middle. On the top is the office of Brahmaji. And there's a 4 demigod like Indra, Varuna. They have Jamaraj. They have their headquarters there. They live in their abode, just like you have your house and you go to work. So the demigod also has a working place and their house are not same place. So they go there. That's where they come to work. So there's a 4 and the sun rotates in the middle planetary system. When sun goes to the northern side, then it's called Uttarayan. It's an auspicious time to die in this world. Why? So you will go to immortal place. Immortal does not mean only spiritual world. Immortal could be also merging into impersonal concept. Not necessarily. It means out of these material modes. It could be also higher planetary system. It depends on the person. But then we also discuss it is not necessarily a time. It is actually a person. Just like when you die, it's not like, oh, he went or she went to Vaikuntha. Not like that. You die, somebody take you to Vaikuntha. You don't go on your own. Just like we took a tour today. Jai Krishna Prabhu, the temple president, he took us, all the GBC college students. He took us on a tour. because today is a big day, graduation day. So we took off. I mean, they gave us off. So we took a big tour. It's a huge place, so beautiful, so many mountains. We have over 2,000 acres of land. And today we also saw how austere life Radhanath Maharaj had when he was a brahmachari. There was no heater. But even just by entering into that room, it's like so cold. But he was sleeping there for 7 years. Chandramali Swami was a cook. There was no ventilation. The smoke would come. And Prabhupada lived there for a whole month. He has to go down to take bath and come up. It was very austere. So they did a lot of austerity for this place to now this place became a tourist center. Last year, 35,000 people came to visit. Not local, outside. It's became a very well-known, beautiful, because there are a lot of temples, a lot of program going on. It's very nice. Mangalarti is wonderful. We enjoy that Mangalarti every day. And so the conversation, the discussion was that when somebody dies in this material world, when we say, okay, they went to hell or heaven, it's not that they went to hell and heaven. Somebody took them. Another living being. It is not automatic like that. Then we discuss that that what controls the time, and this time is divided into two. Sun goes northern side and southern side, but within each diameter that he rotates, the sun planet, you can say sun god, who actually handles the planet. There is a day and night also. So how would you be knowing when to die? Or do you control your death? Well, as a devotee, we don't need to worry about it, because our ultimate destination does not depend on any demigod, does not depend on time. This body depends on time. Subtle body does not depend on time, depend on our sadhana. When we become pure, it dissolves and we can go back home just by bhakti yoga. So that was the discussion. So today we'll discuss what is the effect of this knowing these two paths that we discuss. That knowing these two paths to be leading to different destination, yogis remain free from bewilderment. So those who are very alert when to die, and they die at that time and they go back. Not go back, they go to the higher planet. So Arjuna, being steady, fully engaged in yoga, he was preparing, he was listening how this whole work. Then Krishna explained, whatever pious fruit of study, the Vedas, sacrifice, austerities, charity, by doing all this, yogi go beyond all such fruits or results and attain the supreme destination. So this is what we are going to read today. So now I need somebody to recite the 26th verse. Who would like to recite? 8th chapter, 26. Any volunteer? Would like to read? Yes, Mother Sushilpa, go for it. You can unmute, Mother.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. 8.26, right, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Okay. Give me 1 second, Prabhuji. Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Prabhu. Shukla Krishne gati he ete jagata saswate mate ekaya yatye anavratim anyaya vartate punah. According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world. One is light and one in darkness. One in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. But when one passes in darkness, he returns. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The same description of departure and return is quoted by Acharya Baladeva Vidyabhushana from Chandogya Upanishad 5.10.3 through 5. Those who are fruitive laborers and philosophical speculators from time immemorial are constantly going and coming. Actually, they do not attain ultimate salvation, for they do not surrender to Krishna. Hare
Okay,
Krishna.
so what did you get the key point from here, from the purport? Very interesting, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji. So it's, I think the sloka is detailing out on the ways of passing out, the prana going out, one in light and one in darkness. I did not get in detail on what in light and darkness means, but it details out that one who passes in light will not come back. Meaning, I'm assuming that they will not take birth again, like into the material world in a body or so. But one who passes in darkness, he will return. I'm assuming light means day and darkness means night. Prabhuji, please correct.
But something Prabhupada said in the purport, which makes it more complete. That actually they do not attain ultimate salvation. Why they go and come back,
Because they did not surrender to Krishna, rather they are looking for their karmic fruitive reaction.
So
they are
entering to spiritual world means minimum qualification is
surrender to Krishna.
Surrender. That's why this 5 principle is very important. We have to be conscious of Krishna, become his devotee, serve him, surrender to him, and share this knowledge. Because if they don't surrender, nobody can enter into Vaikuntha. It is not possible, Prabhu's and Mother. Nobody. Because constitutionally we are surrender soul, dependent on Krishna. Surrender means just like a surrender doesn't mean punished, because surrender has a connotation, in this world is like a punished or something. No, surrender is not like this. Just like a child is surrendered to the mother, but we don't say that. But we say child dependent on mother. Same thing. Child should not go or do things on his or her own until he becomes mature, because there is a risk involved. So they depend on mother, and that dependence is actually good. I hope you all will agree that dependence on mother is actually good for the child. On his or her own, a 2-year-old baby cannot figure it out what will be good for him or her. But mother knows what is good for him or her. So therefore, when we depend on Krishna, Krishna knows all our material journey. How many thousands of lives we went through different species. What actual need, what actual want, what actually interest or we are concerned. If we depend on Krishna, it will be 100% fulfilled. If we depend on us, our own idea, we'll go back and forth, or going around in cycle, heaven and then hell, then heaven, then hell. It's like going good, bad, Never can figure it out. So let's see the word-to-word meaning. Yes, Mother Sushilpa.
Prabhuji, I just got a thought to what I think I've heard somewhere from one of the Prabhuji. Is light meaning turning towards Krishna and turning backwards to Krishna is darkness? Probably.
It can be, but Krishna did not exactly say it that way.
Okay.
Krishna says that how sun rotates. You know how sun rotates? It goes on an axle. Just like a chariot has an axle. So sun rotate axle, and that axle, it's in between this Mandar Hill, Mount Sumeru, and this Lokaloka mountain. There is a axle, and then it goes. It goes on a one wheel. It's very mysterious sun. And then it goes like this. So when it goes to northern side, the entire that area is auspicious at that time. And if somebody leaves the body, they go to higher planet. You cannot say they go to Vaikuntha unless they surrender to Krishna. That's not possible otherwise, just by dying at that time. Now, if they die during the southern side, because 6 months this side, 6 months that side, that's how the sun rotates. And there is a 27 star, astrological, those who are astrologers, they can tell you how those, your birth and death, when you die, they can figure it out whether you went to hell or heaven. But they cannot figure it out whether you will go to Vaikuntha or not. That not up to them. That is up to you and Krishna. That is controlled by Krishna, but you also can know because your relationship with Krishna. Those who don't have a relationship, they cannot enter. Here, if you look at the word, it says, Shukla Krishna Gatihi Ete. There are two ways of passing. Shukla means light and Krishna means dark. Two ways of passing from this world. Ekaya jati anabrittim. By one anabrittim, one will not come back. Then annaya avartate punaha. By another one, we will come back. Shukla Krishna gatihi ete. Shukla refers to Shukla Paksha. Krishna refers to Krishna Paksha. Gati means is passing. So, Jagata Shashate Mate. Jagata Shashate Mate. These are the Vedas which are Shashate. Shashate means eternal. Gives this opinion. Mate. Mate means opinion. So, there are two ways of departing. But Srila Prabhupada quotes from Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, who is quoting from Vedanta Sutra commentary from the Chandogya Upanishad. That's right, I read. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan analyzed this quote quite extensively. It's good for us. If he didn't do it, it would be difficult because I would have doubt. So he said in his Govinda Vaishya that not just this particular time, because there are overlapping in time, or you can say contradiction may happen, like it may say Uttarayan means 6 months, but within that we have to, as I mentioned, there is a day and night. So Uttarayan in daytime, but what about if there is a night in Uttarayan? And if you die at that time, will you go? That question is not completely answered. So what will happen? There is a lot of complication over here. So literal understanding does not really stand very scrutiny. We go very seriously into it. So he gives an example. It is referring to deities. And it is referring to Kala. Does not necessarily refer to time only. I'm repeating this because this is very important. You will hear this. And those Brahmanas, they read, oh, he died in a full moon or dark moon. But that doesn't mean Amavasya Purnima. That doesn't mean it determines destiny. It is a person who actually determines. Not necessarily just that period controlled by some planet. So here it says, here in this chapter, Ekaya Jati Anapritim. One yogi not come back by other, he will come back. So whole point of this discussion is that actually there are a lot of precious factors have to be taken care of so that one will attain success in spiritual journey. If one will not take care of those, one will not attain success. So Arjuna asks, how I will take care of all these? And Sri Krishna told Arjuna, don't bother so much about this. This is what I like about it. Now let's go to text 27. Who would like to read? Anyone?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Okay, Somin Prabhu, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. So text 8.27. Naite Sruti Partha Janan Yogi Mujjati Kaschana Tasmat Sarvesu Kalesu Yoga Yukta Bhavarjuna. Synonyms: na, never, ete, these two, Sruti, different paths, Partha, O son of Partha, Janan, even if he knows, Yogi, the devotees of the Lord, Mujjati is bewildered, Kaschana, any, Tasmat, therefore, Sarvesu, Kalesu, always, Yoga, Yukta, engaged in Krishna consciousness, Bhava, just become, Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, he always fixed in devotion. Purport. Krishna is here advising Arjuna that he should not be disturbed by the different paths the soul can take when leaving the material world. A devotee of the Supreme Lord should not worry whether he will depart by arrangement or by accident. The devotee should be firmly established in Krishna consciousness and chant Hare Krishna. He should know that concern over either of these two paths is troublesome. The best way to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness is to be always dovetailed in his service and dovetail his service, and this will make one's path to the spiritual kingdom safe, certain, and direct. The word Yoga Yukta is especially significant in this verse. One who is firm in yoga is constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness in all his activities. Sri Rupa Goswami advises anasaktasya visayan yatharham upayunjata. That means one should be unattached in material affairs and do everything in Krishna consciousness. By this system, this is called Yukta Vairagya. One attains perfection. Therefore, the devotee is not disturbed by these descriptions because he knows that his passage to the supreme abode is guaranteed by devotional service. Back to
Very
you.
nice. So this is a beautiful verse. How do the devotee prepare for leaving their bodies? This is beautiful. The devotees are not disturbed by the two different paths. The Hindus, Muslim, Christian, whatever path they have. Because they are not focusing on the surrender. So their path is also good, but it is not ultimate benefit. Devotee does not worry about when he will depart. He simply is always fixed in devotion, knows that he will reach the supreme abode, is guaranteed by devotional service. So let's look at this verse. Naite Sri Partha Gyana. So Sriti is different path. Naite. These two different paths, even if one knows, Yogi Muhyanti Kaschana. Yogi is not Muhyanti. Muhyanti means builder. Yogi is not builder. So therefore, what one should do, Tasmat Sarvesu Kaleshu Yoga Jukta Bhavarjuna. Beautiful. Arjun, practice the path of yoga. Path of yoga means, okay, you are cooking. Think you are cooking for pleasing Krishna. You are working. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhalo mando nahi jani seva matra kori tumaro sangsare ami vishaya prahari. Say, I don't know good and bad. Bhalo mando nahi jani seva matra kori. I'm just serving, taking care of your family of devotees. Means he's not considering his family as his family. He's considering this Krishna's family. He will earn money. Tumhara sangsara bay koriba bahan. I'll earn money to maintain your family. This is called surrender. This is called they are ready. They can die any moment and go back home. No worry at all. We had seen in 6th chapter that Sri Krishna has emphasized that ultimately the best yoga is the yoga of bhakti. The last verse on chapter 6, if you look at it, that's what it is. Yoginam api sarvesam madgatena antara atmana saddhamam bhajate jomam same jukta tamo mata. Is the best yogi who is thinking of Krishna, serving Krishna. So when practiced bhakti yoga, one will make best tangible advancement. One will go rapidly back to Krishna. Sri Krishna has told very clearly in chapter 6 and verse. So yoga jukta bhavarjuna means Krishna is telling Arjuna, be connected with the yoga. Don't bother about all this. What will happen? What will happen just to, now you may say, well, why then did Krishna explaining this if it is not necessary for devotee? Because you will have a doubt. What about all these people, all this religion, other religion, how they go, where they go? So Krishna is giving the explanation what happened to them. Just like I met this friend who practiced Muslim because it's interesting. And but he's also has a Prabhupada's Gita. So then when you go deep into discussion, so do you practice to please him, serve him while you are here? He said, well, I do namaz, praying to God. I said, yeah, but are you offering your food to God before you eat or you just eat? Well, he made this for us. I said, that's selfish. You have to recognize that he gave. He said, yes, we recognize. I said, then you offer him. You offer him. That is what the difference between devotee and non-devotee. Now, when you say non-devotee, it's very harsh sound like. Oh, they are also religious. How can they be harsh? How can God be so harsh? No, because if you are not ready to serve him, you are not in your position. You will be hovering in this world. You can go to impersonal world or heaven or anywhere, but you have to keep coming back and go back, coming back, go back until you become a devotee. It's not possible to enter into Golok or even Vaikuntha. So devotee doesn't have to worry too much. Sometimes we have fear. I have tried to practice Krishna consciousness. I'm trying to remember Krishna Prabhu. But what if I die suddenly in accident or die suddenly if I get heart attack? How do I know that I will remember Krishna? There is no one, maybe there is no one around. I may be driving alone and car crashed. All kinds of weird thought may come. What if I don't remember Krishna at the time of what will happen? So devotee should not be afraid of these things because Krishna is there. Krishna will take care of devotee. This is important to remember. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan quotes in his Govinda Bhashya that actually he quotes probably from Vamana Purana that Krishna loves his devotee so much that Sri Krishna gives his remembrance to his devotee. Now, just like in a split road, you see the two sides. You can take right turn or a left turn. Krishna is not going to decide for you, but Krishna can remind you about him. I hope you all understand what I'm trying to say. But you have choice, you have to make. Yes, I want to go to Krishna. Just like this Mataji, Mata Lakshmi Muni, she was in a hospital emergency and she told us this story in the class that because doctor were inquiring. So after her operation, the doctor asked, because she was put into some kind of anesthesia for a long time. Do you remember where you live? She doesn't remember. Do you remember your family, children, parents, anybody? No. That sounds very scary, isn't it? Prabhu's and mother, you will face it too. Don't worry. Of course, you're going to worry. So what do you mean, don't worry? I'm already starting to worry. Yeah, you should worry. But funny thing, they asked her, so doctor knows that she's a devotee and because she was chanting before the operation. He said, do you know Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna? She immediately said, oh yes, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. And she went on and on and on and on and on. To say, wow, that's very far out. How come she remembers that and she doesn't remember anything else? Now her daughter and son, what they felt, I don't know. But that's scary. How can mommy don't remember us? Because bodily connection will be all dissolved. I'm talking about right now, in this world, people experience this, what they can remember, what they don't remember. But Krishna consciousness is so wonderful, thanks to Prabhupada for this making available, that Vaman Puran says, if you are seriously chanting and serving, even if you forget, Krishna will show Harinam Mahamantra or his face, and then you, all of a sudden you will say, yes, I want you, Krishna. Now Krishna will not make a choice for you, but Krishna will give you the option with all your unnecessary option of Maya. So this is very good. Hope we all become happy that Krishna do care for us, but we should be always alert. So we may not be able to remember Krishna, but we should not worry because Krishna will give us a chance when we are sincerely. But Prabhu's and Mother, if we are not sincerely chanting, we are not sincerely really, like sometimes you wonder, my Lord, can I surrender to you? I really want to surrender to you. This kind of talk is good. Talk to the Lord. Open your heart, express your feeling. My Lord, I don't even remember. I don't even know what kind, you have a form, I know. I want to believe it. I want to really hold on to that form in front of me, in my heart. But sometimes it's just difficult because we deal with the person in this world with the body and we remember them. But I don't correspondence with you. Can you please make my life little easy so I can remember you? I want to serve you. Express this. These are good thought. These are very unique. Prabhupada mentioned this. Maharaj Kulashekar, Kantha Ruddhate. These are the expression. Prabhupada sing that song of Maharaj Kulashekar, that at the time of death, my voice will be choking. When I'm old, better I remember now, young, please let me go now. So this is his prayers, and Prabhupada emphasized this. So my point is that more we come closer, and please don't tell me you don't have a time. You have plenty of time. Every day you have plenty of time. You have a time for thinking non-Krishna. Why not Krishna? It's not that you have a choice. Yes, you do have a choice. You have a choice. But if you don't want to think of Krishna, even for 10 minutes or something, then you'll think somebody else. It is not that you will not think anybody. You will think. Because this thinking is also eternal. Satchidananda means thinking, awareness, feeling. These things are eternal. It is not something you wished away. You are made of. You are made of those. Thinking will never stop. Awareness will never stop. Feeling will never stop. This is what you are in true sense, in reality. Yes, Mother Sushilpa.
Prabhuji, in the earlier class we were discussing and we said, if I think, if I desire, then Krishna will make it happen, right? But now in this sloka that we are saying, Krishna will give the options and then I decide. I take the action.
Yes. So it's
right?
both. It's
so
both.
is it like
It's both in a sense. In the beginning, you have to endeavor. You have to desire to think. But if a accidental or something happened at the moment of death that you didn't even prepare, but then Krishna, because you prepared before to think of him and hear about him, he will give you that option. Okay, I know you, all of a sudden this happened. Of course, it is his sanction. It's nothing accidental happened. At that time, he will give you an option. Like a chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra will flash in front of your vision. But Krishna will not make the choice for you. You have to make the choice. Otherwise, what is the value of individuality? You understand that point. Because Krishna doesn't force us to come to him. He wants us to come to him, but he doesn't force us.
Yes, Prabhuji. Got it, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So the Krishna showing the option is also like a decision coming from Krishna, but on top of it, there is an additional decision which has to be made by me to go with that option.
Correct.
Right, that's what I.
Correct.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Correct. Very good. So, Sri Krishna's guarantee, oh Krishna will take care of me. I don't have to do anything. That is not true. I'm giving the negative side also. If you say, okay, at the time of death, Krishna will do everything. No. We have to do something. What is that we have to do? As Sri Krishna says in this verse, we also have to, as Krishna says, Yoga Jukta Bhavarjuna. We have to stay connected with Krishna. If we are diligently doing devotional service, then we don't have to bother about what will be exact moment, when death will come, what will happen to me, when I'll die. No, I don't have to bother about, I don't know how many of you really thought about it, but I can see it will be back and forth. Yeah, I don't know. I hope it happens, like go back and forth. I hope everything goes smooth when I die. I hope Krishna will remind me. I hope I will remember. I hope I will be in Vrindavan. I hope I will be in my... we do think. We may not say everything, but we do think. Mind is like full of those thoughts. It's not just we are only talking about it. No, we do. Every devotee thinks. Whether we speak or not, that's difference. So let's do the next verse. Whoever would like. Text 28, the last verse for today. Any volunteer?
I can read it.
Okay, Mother Harsha, please go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vedeshu yagyeshu tapaschu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upeti chadhyam. Now, translation and purport is by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Translation: a person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing austere sacrifices, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Now, purport is, this verse is the summation of the 7th and 8th chapters, which particularly deal with Krishna consciousness and devotional service. One has to study the Vedas under the guidance of the spiritual master and undergo many austerities and penance while living under his care. A brahmachari has to live in the home of the spiritual master, just like a servant, and he must beg alms from door to door and bring them to the spiritual master. He takes food only under the master's order, and if the master neglects to call the student for food that day, the student fasts. These are some of the Vedic principles for observing brahmacharya. After the student studies the Vedas under the master for a period from 5 to 20 years, he may become a man of perfect character. Study of Vedas is not meant for the recreation of the armchair speculators, but for the formation of character. After this training, the brahmachari is allowed to enter into household life and marry. When he is a householder, he has to perform many sacrifices so that he may achieve further enlightenment. He must also give charity according to the country, time, and candidate, discriminating among charity in goodness, in patience, and in ignorance, as described in Bhagavad Gita. Then, after retiring from household life, upon accepting the order of Vanaprastha, he undergoes severe penances, living in forest, dressing with tree bark, not shaving, etc. By carrying out of the orders of brahmacharya, householder life, Vanaprastha, and finally sannyasa, one became elevated to the perfectional stage of life. Some are then elevated to the heavenly kingdoms, and when they became even more advanced. They are liberated in the spiritual sky, either in impersonal Brahmajyoti or in the Vankut planets or Krishna Loka. This is the path outlined by the Vedic literatures, planets, Vedic literatures. The beauty of Krishna consciousness, however, is that by one stroke, by engaging in devotional service, one can surpass all the rituals of the different orders of life. The words idam viditva indicates that one should understand the instruction given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. One should try to understand these chapters not by scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees. Chapters 6 through 12 are the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The first 6 and the last 6 chapters are like coverings for the middle 6 chapter, which are especially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita, especially these middle 6 chapters, in the association of devotees, then his life at once becomes glorified beyond all penance, sacrifices, charities, speculations, etc. For one can achieve all the result of these activities simply by Krishna consciousness. One who has a little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from devotee, because in the beginning of the 4th chapter is stated clearly that Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees. No one else can perfectly understand the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. One should therefore learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotees of Krishna, not from mental speculators. This is a sign of faith. When one searches for a devotee and finally gets a devotee's association, one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. By advancement in the association of devotees, one is placed in devotional service, and this service dispels all one's misgiving about Krishna or God and Krishna's activities. Form, pastimes, name, and other features. After these misgivings have been perfectly cleared away, one becomes fixed in one's study. Then one relishes the study of Bhagavad Gita and attains the state of feeling always Krishna consciousness. In the advanced stage, one falls completely in love with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of life enables the devotee to be transferred to Krishna's abode in the spiritual sky, Golok Vrindavana, where the devotees becomes eternally happy. Thus, and the Bhaktivedanta purpose to the English chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of attaining the supreme.
Very nice.
Haribol.
Thank you, Mother Harsha. Let's see. So this is the end, and it's very nice, isn't it? That how Krishna addressed Arjuna's concern about untimely death. Not ultimate death, untimely. Anybody is concerned about ultimate death? No. Is there an ultimate death? Yes, no? If you want to stay merged, you pray for it, you meditate on it. Well, Krishna is going to respond to your prayers. So you will stay for long, long time. Now, to scare you, I tell you something Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote. I got really scared. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if a soul, conditioned soul, due to frustration, come on, Prabhus and mothers, if we go really deeply, some of the people in this world, even in America, they are so frustrated with life due to whatever, disease or children problem or whatever, so frustrated. They just want to run away or they kill themselves. Why people commit suicide? Why? After the suicide, is more pleasant than present. I hope you all understand. They can see some idea that after they exit from this body, they will be better place than this existence. Is that true? Will they reach better place than this? Anybody, please help me. Mother Premapada Devi Dasi, what is your idea about it? Mother Sri Ishopanishad. Okay, Mother Premapada Devi Dasi, yes.
Prabhu, no, they become ghost.
What is ghost? Is this better than their suffering or worse than their suffering?
Worse than their suffering.
Very good. Yes, it is worse than their suffering. Ghost is nothing but, is like a, you know, if somebody nails or put a handcuff on my hand and legs and put it on a wall and I'm starving and they put a 56 preps, nice prasadam plate in front. I don't know. Can you imagine that torture? I don't know. I just made it something like that. Imagine you are starving to death, but they tie your hand and leg on a wall. You can't move, but you see the prasadam right in front of you, but you cannot touch. You can't move. If there is no prasadam, that's one kind of torture. But when you are starving and there is a prasadam, but you cannot have the access, it's a worse torture. So ghost body is like this. Anybody knows who controls the ghost world? Maybe that should scare you. Do you know how ghost planet control?
Lord Shiva.
They are actually relative of Lord Shiva, Justin. They are relative of Lord Shiva. There is no question. Ghost comes from the Bhuta. Bhuta is a children of this dynasty that where Shiva comes. In his family, I made a genealogy chart of the Shiva's family. Shiva's family has Bhuta, a person from where all the goblin ghost comes. They have also body like us, but it's made of air, predominated. Just like you have a fire. You have a 98-degree fire. It's very hot. If you put your finger in your mouth, you'll see the hot. You touch your head, you'll see that there's a heat coming from your on top of your head. If you touch, you can see there's a fire. But it is not so prominent because earth, this body, 80% is water, 75% is water predominated. Our physical body has a space also. If you touch your skin, there's a space. Within this body, there is a lot of space. All this earth, air, water, fire, ether, is all there. But predominated one elements over other. Just like the heavenly body. They enjoy more because their predominated elements is subtle. Just like a sky or air. You don't see the air. Nobody sees the air. But you see the action of the air. Oh, look at, there's a big stormy wind. How do you see? How do you see stormy wind? We say that. Isn't we say, oh, look at the strong wind. No, we don't see the strong wind. We see the trees are moving. So we assume it is strong wind. But we don't see the air. I hope you all understand what I'm trying to say. It is not the air we see the action or effect of the air. So similarly, space is very, just like if you punch someone, versus you put your, fist to somebody's somebody's body, you just put it there, it doesn't hurt. But if you punch, why punching is hurting, not touching is hurting? Why? Because there is a air. There's a 5 kinds of air. One air called prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. So one kind of air that it carries the power, force within you. So when you punch, like you go underwater, you control the breath. And when you cannot, then you come up like this. So like this, the subtle elements are like this. So the ghost body predominated by the air. So question is, who controls the ghost world? Yes, Shiva is the ultimate controller, but he is not immediate controller. Just like this material world, Krishna is a controller, but he is not, Krishna does not control this directly. Krishna controls through Maya, through demigods. Maya, who controls through the demigods. So Krishna controls through them, just like many years back, I killed a snake. But if you say, did you really kill the snake? No, I didn't. I hold a stick and my intention, desire to kill the snake, because it was right in front of me. The desire came from me. But the stick killed the snake, but stick did not kill it by its own power, because stick doesn't have a own power. I was holding the stick and killed the snake. So something like that. Shiva controls by the Brahma Daitya. You ever heard Brahma Rakshas, Brahma Daitya? These are the leaders of the ghost planet. Would you like to know who becomes Brahma Daitya? You may like, is this really important? Yes, it is important. Do you know how one becomes Brahma Daitya or Brahma Rakshas? Anybody? If you don't know, then I tell you. I won't tell you the process. It is the devotees, Krishna Bhakta, who commit suicide. They will be punished. Krishna is going to protect them by punishing them. Because they know better that as a devotee, we should never commit suicide. Nobody should commit suicide. Suicide is condemned. But if devotee commits suicide, they will get more punishment than ordinary being. I hope you all remember this. You can scare the people. Because in this world, was it yesterday? Yesterday in our GBC college, one teacher was telling that 30% people in this world at least once in a life, thought of killing themselves. 30% means every three person you see, one did thought, at least one time thought, I'm tired of life. I just feel like to kill myself and just get out of this. Scary, isn't it, to hear that? This is a fact. They do a lot of research and they say. So who controls the ghost planet? Those devotees who don't. Now you may say, like, that's not possible. Devotee never commits suicide. Well, that's not true. I witnessed myself in Mayapur. There was an elderly doctor who came, and there was some shameful thing he did, which he should not have done. But to repent, or whatever, he could have asked to some senior devotee. Instead, he hanged himself in his room near the kitchen in Mayapur. So now question is, where will he go? Well, it's up to him and Krishna. But according to scriptures, he will become a Brahma Rakshasa. They are the controller of the ghost. And they suffer tremendous. The leaders suffer tremendous. Isn't Krishna merciful? Yes, he is merciful. Mother is always merciful. But mother also give time out to a child. Is mother's giving time out to a child is not her love? Yes or no? Somebody please explain me. Is that love or punishment?
Still love, Prabhu.
It
I
is
think
love.
it's love, Prabhu.
For the
Yes.
betterment of the child.
Yes, for the betterness of the child. It is not for her needs. She wants to punish the child. No, for future of the child. So Krishna make those devotees who commit suicide more torturer in a body called Brahmadaitya, Brahma Rakshasa. It is his mercy. They will suffer such a way that when they get again human body after long time, then they will never forget that. There are many examples. Even recently, not recently, like about 10 years back, one Maharaj, Indian Maharaj, his sister's son who killed himself in Bombay. And the child was like crying, say, I want to come back, I want to come back, I'm being tortured. They want to come back. But Maharaj was consulting, and even he mentioned to me, what do you think? I heard you know about those different species in different planets, because I made a chart many years back. I was making chart because I was curious. So anyway, we had a nice discussion. I said, well, he comes back doesn't mean he immediately become advanced devotee. He committed suicide. He will still go through some suffering. Is she ready to take that suffering? I don't know. I said, then you have to confront. As long whatever she wants, she can do. But if you really know that your child will be born and that child will go through a tremendous suffering, like a disease or something for whole life, because he committed suicide before and he's want to come back, you give him privilege, that soul will suffer. And then that Mataji said, Maharaj, I don't want that kind of suffering. I'm tired enough with this life. I want to just chant and become pure and get out. So then do that. Now you can go to some holy places and maybe invite that ghost to hear Bhagavatam. You can do like this. But if you want to take voluntarily pain, it's up to you. But it is not fun. Oh, I'm delivering a child. Oh, first you become pure devotee. Then you think of that. Every soul is different. There is millions of souls every moment suffering and getting tortured or kill themselves. So it's not something big. Now in Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, so we summarize, Krishna explained how dedicated yogi train themselves to depart at auspicious time, thereby attain liberation. Those who depart at other time won't be liberated. So there's the difference between 24th verse and 25th verse. I remember last week we did. And hearing this, Arjuna understood, but he was concerned. Timings one death so precisely requires a phenomenal level of self-mastery, isn't? That seems tough, even for committed yogis. What then to speak of Arjuna, who is fighting on the battlefield against formidable enemies? Even if Arjuna survives and succeed on the battlefield, he will then be encumbered by rigorous royal responsibilities. Will he ever have enough time for the immense, intense yoga practice necessary to determine the exact moment of one's death? I made a little note. It's very interesting. Though Arjuna don't voice this apprehension, Krishna is close enough to him to sense his unspoken concern. After all, Arjuna has already expressed reservation about the practicality of yoga. So there Krishna had assured him that success was possible by the appropriate process. pointing to Bhakti Yoga as the recommended process. And he declared the topmost yogis, 647, if you remember, topmost yogis are those who faithfully remember him within their heart. Prabhus and mothers, why not you spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day? Meditate Krishna in your heart. Think that you're serving, you're pleasing him, or you're chanting his name right in front of. It'll be nice. Prabhupada said if you have a tulasi or some altar or some photo, then it's easy to meditate. Krishna reiterates his endorsement of bhakti while addressing Arjuna's concern about untimely death. He urges Arjuna to fearlessly stay engaged in the recommended yoga practice. This was the verse 27 today we just read. Lest there be any ambiguity about his recommended yoga practice. Now, Krishna uses here the same line, Tasmat Sarvesu Kalesu. If you look at it, I was pointing that. At all time that he had used when explicitly endorsing Bhakti Yoga as the best means to prepare for death. So remember Krishna internally, fight for Krishna externally. Prabhus and mothers, if you look at it, 8.7, the beginning of this chapter, 8.7, this is a beautiful verse. Think of Krishna internally, outside you have a job, do externally. Connecting. So what is boils down to? Addressing Arjuna's concern about ultimate death, Krishna recommends Krishna consciousness, wherein success depends on what we remember lifelong, not when we die. I hope you all got that point. It's not like, oh, at the moment of death, I have to be concerned. No, no, no. Concerned now, not at the moment of death. If you are practicing now, then when death comes, you will be automatically promoted. So don't worry about when death is coming. Worry about now whether you are connecting your activities, your thought with Krishna. That is the bottom line. So this is a beautiful conclusion Krishna gave. Because 8th chapter concludes with the call to practice yoga. Here, yoga does not necessarily mean Ashtanga yoga. What it means is focus on transcendental goal and stay connected with transcendental goal. This is a beautiful. Srila Prabhupada said, you just read, one should begin by studying the Bhagavad Gita from a devotee. So one should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee, not from a mental speculator. Very nice. This is a sign of faith. Then Prabhupada described how we should study Bhagavad Gita and love for Krishna eventually emerges. Then Prabhupada described this highest stage of life, Parama Sthanam, completely in love with Sri Krishna. One falls completely in love with Krishna. This highest perceptual stage of life will enable you all, Prabhus and mothers, to be transferred to Krishna's abode in the spiritual sky. How close you want to be with Krishna, that's up to you, actually. It is not up to Krishna. You can be as close as Krishna through relationship, or you can just meditate with him. In Vaikuntha, sometimes they meditate, and once in a month they hear, oh, God is coming today. So they open their eye after whole month or something like that. And they look at outside, the God is going on a procession. Just like here, we have a procession sometime in India generally. In America, I don't see. Well, we have a Ratha Jatra in the West. So something like that. Of course, there's no violence in spiritual world. In the material world, there is a violence sometime. How Krishna's spontaneous progression from chapter 8 to 9 reflects the glory of Bhakti Yoga. So next chapter will be Bhakti Yoga. I'm very excited for next week to read chapter 9. And hopefully you all will be excited also. Any takeaway or question or comment? Otherwise we can end here. Justin.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Oh, Ram Babu, how are you?
Yeah. Dandapat Pranam, Prabhuji. How are you?
Good, good.
I have one little question on that chapter, chapter 8. There is a two word, they say Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. So how they affect this word if the person is pure devotees?
Well, this is what I was explaining last week, also this week, a little bit, that Uttarayan means northern. The sun rotates, from like a clockwise, clockwise, how clock goes. So sun rotate clockwise, not counterclock, clockwise.
Sun or earth rotate?
No, sun. Sun goes on a wheel. There's a wheel, and the Biboshan, and he has a Aruni, the driver. Don't ask me how he drives, because he's facing the Lord, but he's driving the chariot. How it is, I don't know. If you want to check it out, you can go there and look at it. I saw a painting actually in Google. The Arun is facing to the sun god, and the horse is going in front. I don't know how he managed. Of course, they are a very higher being. I cannot imagine. Because I cannot drive, looking in the back and driving in the front. I cannot do that. I don't want to do that because that's very risky. Because I'm conditioned soul, But how he does that, I don't know. So Uttarayan means, if you look at the whole diameter of the sun's moving, if you divide into 2, 6 months, 6 months. But within 6 months, there is a day and night also. This is what we discuss. And day and night is also a person. Day and night is not just like this air I'm breathing right now. It's not the air, actually. There is a God, demigod, who controls this air. Just like right now you're seeing me, I'm seeing you. Actually, you are not seeing me, I'm not seeing you. The facility is given, we are taking advantage, and we claim that I'm seeing you. If there is no Zoom right now, I could not see you, right? So Zoom is not like some China or some company came up with this. Are Baba, where did they get this? From the fire god. Fire element has this, fire backing this. So you have a Zoom. Then to perceive, you need a sun god. Zoom will not work enough. There is a Zoom, but if my eyes close, how am I going to see you if my eyes close? You know what causes the eyes open? Sattvagun. Closes the eye in Tamagun. So even the modes are playing. Mahadevi's demigods are involved. Even I'm speaking. I'm not speaking actually because I'm not this body. I'm inside the body. I am desiring to express what I understand. The palate, the jaws, the tongue, the teeth, they put together with a language that you can understand, verbalize. But that's not enough. There is a fire god creating this, then the air god will take you through the Zoom. And that's not even enough. There's a Dikpal in your ear connected. He has to turn on automatically, so quick. It's like unbelievable how they do. They're high perceptive demigods. So then it goes to your ear and there is a drum. That drum is connected with the brain cell. And brain cell connected with your impression in the heart. Because if I say some word and you are not familiar, you have no idea what I'm talking.
Right, exactly.
So I have to say something. You have to have an impression in your head with the brain cell. Then you'll say, okay, I'm getting what he's trying to say. So you see, the demigods are involved in between. It's not that we do ourselves. So many factors are like this. So then when you talk about Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, it's a person. That's why I went to the whole route. Even though it looks like I'm speaking and you hearing. No, I'm not just speaking. It is produced like this, demigod carrying it, allowing you to hear it like that. And Paramatma behind the whole scene, permitting everything. Check, check,
Everything,
check,
right.
check, 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 like this.
Right, right. Yeah.
When you see Paramatma, you can tell him, thank you for doing unlimited check for me every day.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So best thing is we should awaken our own body. We have a spiritual body. We are spiritual already. We have spiritual body. Those doesn't require demigod. We are full controller. That is called highest liberation. Highest. When we are pure devotee, we have freedom. That is real freedom. Thank you, Ram Prabhu. Very nice question.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Prahladananda Prabhu. Then just.
When is the next class, Prabhu?
Every Wednesday we do this, and our Chaitanya Charitamrita will start from 29th, I believe. 29th, we'll have 5 days a week, and then, 6 days a week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Mataji, go ahead, please.
Is our Saturday class still okay?
Yes, Saturday is the Bengali class.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mata.
What time, Prabhu?
I'll add you in the WhatsApp, Prabhu, and then you'll know automatically.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you, kind. Thank you for
Dandavat
your
Pranam,
time.
Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Prabhu.
All throughout your lecture, I was remembering this episode of Junior Haridas Thakur, since you started about that devotees committing suicide. So I recall that, after he committed drowning into the Ganges, and one day he was heard singing some bhajan or Hare Krishna like that. I'm not very sure about that. So could you little enlighten us about that, about Chota Haridas?
Yeah.
Little, not much.
Choto Haridas is an exceptional case.
Okay.
Choto Haridas is an exceptional case because he's an eternal associate also.
Oh, okay.
It's not just a conditioned soul.
Right.
Because he did not want to commit suicide. But something behavior when he went for begging, because he is serving a sannyasi. And Mahaprabhu himself represents that sannyasi. Mahaprabhu himself wants to set up an example. Hey, you want to serve a sannyasi, you are dealing with sannyasi, you want to stay like sannyasi life, you should not look at a girl with a wrong idea. He is in the heart of Junior Haridas. Of course, this is for the teaching to us. We have to be careful. You cannot just blame Choto Haridas for that. He's doing his role. Then it says that he went to beg some alms to Madhavi Devi. Madhavi Devi is the sister of Sikhi Mahiti.
Right.
They are intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. But she had a niece in that house. And he looked at, that's how Bhakti Ratnakar gives a little hint.
Okay.
And then you may say, well, he did a mistake. But Lord Chaitanya knows, he is in the heart. Right now, Lord Chaitanya knows your heart, my heart. If I'm pretending or doing something wrong, Lord Chaitanya is not going to easily accept me to go to him. No. He knows. He knows everything I'm speaking, everything I'm thinking. So when he confronted that to Junior Haridas, that he's not allowed to come anymore to see him, that was such a devastation. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually mentioned to him that, not him directly, but indirectly, that how he should be looking his life, that staying with a sannyasi is not a proper behavior. So, renunciate leaving Prabhu in Jagannath Puri was requested to obtain, you can say, because in Chaitanya Charitamrita does not give the details. But then, what did Junior Haridas do? He fasted for 3 days. This is in, I think, in 2nd chapter. Antolila, 2nd chapter, you can look at it. I remember that, yeah. The 3rd chapter is Haridas Thakur. Yes, that's right. So there he was fasting for 3 days, and many devotees actually requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reconsider his strong reaction. But Lord was unrelenting. He opined, I would say, that since Haridas had violated the proper conduct of a sannyasi, this was appropriate punishment. So devotees lovingly encouraged Haridas, but he eventually committed suicide by drowning himself in what he called Ganga, Jamuna, and Saraswati, the junction in Prayag, where the Kumbh Mela take place, I think. Therefore, Haridas received a spiritual body and had a great fortune of associating with receiving the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because when he got this Gandharva form, he was still singing, and he was singing to Lord Chaitanya. He was appreciated. That's a proper, but that has nothing to do with committing suicide. Because this is just I think, I mean, I'm not saying this, but if some devotee severely, really hurted other person with, abuse, they should do some severe repentance or something. Because it's not going to easily accessible spiritual world. If I'm causing somebody really that kind of abuse, it's very hard for that person that I abuse. That person may never want to become devotee. Then I am harming. So why should God allow me to go to him by harming another person not to come to Krishna? So it is necessary according to somebody's. Now, Prabhupada, of course, very merciful. He said, if everybody, because in Kali Yuga, this kind of problem may arise. And if everybody commits suicide, it's better. They should just do severe sadhana and preach. So that was Prabhupada's recommendation. But thank you. That was a very good example.
Thank you very much.
When we'll come to Antolila, we'll discuss that more details.
Yeah, that will be nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes. My question is about verse 28 in the purport. It talks about brahmachari life and being trained in the ashram of the guru from age 5 to 20 years. Is this level of training required? And if it is, how do we get that much training living as a householder?
Training definitely helps, Prabhu. There are a lot of children are getting trained now in many centers. according to time, place, circumstances. Prabhupada giving the history, also Prabhupada trying to say, do your best. Just like I was in New York, I went to stay in somebody's house, and there are two children, they are gathering, like 10 of them, 10 children, 10 or 11, something like that. And once a week they meet. And I said, once a month, I will find out how you're doing, just to inspire them. And they will do severe study in the weekend, or maybe Akadashi day, they will do something extra. So like this, little austerity is required. So brahmachari is like a austere training. Now in America, you have to have a facility. Otherwise, it's not possible by alone to do it. In America, there's I'm living in a room where there's another brahmachari. He was born and raised here in America. Brihad Midanga Prabhu, very nice devotee. He just comes from Kormi life. He is a student of Krishna House. He was studying in university, and through the preaching, he just came, and he became full-time now. You know, he's 28 years old. He was not born in a Vaishnava or anything. So now he's strict brahmachari, and we see the effect of this chanting and full dedication. Like he's very steady, very attractive with his spiritual practice. We do our best, Prabhu. But if there is a facility, you can always do. You can always go. Like Prahladananda Maharaj says, in Europe, he's trying to create a place. It's called Lithuania, a country. I never been to that country. He's trying to create that atmosphere. So like many countries, they do sometime. There's nice brahmachari ashram is there, some places. In America, in New York, actually, there is a brahmachari ashram in our temple in Brooklyn. Ram Rai Prabhu has a heavy, strict control. They are all young men, like 25, 20, 25, like 30, like that. And also, I'm opening an ashram also in Alachua in a couple of weeks. If you have somebody, Prabhu, you send, and they can come and live. Is that okay? Justin Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay.
Any advice for householders?
Householder, you are already late for brahmacharya. But actually, brahmacharya is forever. Brahmacharya is not only for the single man. Brahmacharya is a whole life. Householder means you are married to a person. You're not thinking of another lady or anything. That's also brahmacharya. Because in this world, not every man are very controlled. So as a married man, you produce Krishna conscious child with your wife. You don't think of another woman. That is also brahmacharya. So from that angle, and I'll send you something you can read about it. Very nice example out there in a practical sense.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mother Lipi.
So I have a very relevant question with this study purpose, because first of all, I'd like to thank you from my bottom of the heart to you to give us the opportunity today to see how GBC program is going on. I was so amazed to see that, and I get inspired to know, just to know, because I'm a baby in this field, like how and what is GBC college and how it is acknowledges for the bhakti learning. So I do not have no idea how it's gone through. I am sorry I'm on mask because I'm in the work. So
Okay.
I just need a little bit information about this so we could start studying or we could be associated with the people who already been there.
Oh, this is a lot of this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. They really want you to, they're wonderful teacher. They're all, sannyasis and senior devotees. They are, because we learn from a lot of mistakes in our movement we did, what could prevent. So we learn from that and how we should be cautious in future because temple has to grow. And temples are growing. Right now in China, can you believe that? This is the first time in China, in Chinese language, they are training because thousands of Chinese devotees coming and they're training the Chinese leader to get acquainted with the GBC college. So they want to produce 1 or 2 leader. But leader is not just, okay, from today you are leader, not like that. Leader means you have to be educated, fully educated in the spiritual scriptures, in Prabhupada's mission, what is Prabhupada's idea, what is Lord Chaitanya's mission. There's a lot of study, believe or not, it's a lot of work, lot of work. Like every day you have to write an essay almost 700 words. You have to spend 6 hours every day. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it because those who wants to advance or help in that field, they need to be trained, very well trained, and thereby the professional counseling, how to, conflict resolution, so many things, communication, child protection, farming land, deity worship, all these departments, they have to be fully aware. Communication, like tomorrow we will have a 4 session, 6 hours. We'll take a little break in between, but it's total 8 hours. It's all about communication. Anuttama Prabhu is a genius. He's a GBC also. He's going to teach us whole day, just communication, different skill of communication, empathic communication. These are very important. Now, Prabhupada did not have any training, but he was master of all this. How? I don't know. Because he's a pure devotee, you can say he comes from spiritual world. The way he communicated with others, it's like a very exemplary. How he communicated, he was a genius. And everybody felt, none of his disciples ever felt less. This Mataji, Prabhupada's disciple, she came also. I was just talking to her. She said, I gave $20 to Prabhupada one time. I know some of his disciples gave him 10,000. Even Damodar Bas Party, they gave over $120,000 donation Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada spent this for the Vrindavan temple and further book distribution. Nothing he keeps. And what's his name? Krishna, Rameshwar Prabhu. He was BBT in charge, and he was surprised how Prabhupada, everything he keeps track, and everything is for Krishna. But some or other, he's always inspiring. But when that Mataji gave $20, Prabhupada says, thank you so much. Prabhupada had a smile and said, this is so wonderful that you want to serve Krishna with whatever you have. That Mataji said, I felt like I gave him $1 million, but it was $20. But the expression, the way he inspired me, till today, I think sometime and I cry. I could have given more. That's all I had, $20 I gave him, and the expression Prabhupada had. So it's not just the money. It is more than the money, is that the reciprocation Prabhupada had. He was the expert in communication. That Mataji is still today here in New Vrindavan, where I am right now, how she's serving. She's Western born, but because of Prabhupada's reciprocation, Prabhupada's suggestion, she's still strong in spiritual life. So this is what they do, train. Of course, not anybody can come to the college. You have to be recommended by the GBC. Just like I was recommended by my GBC, like that. They recommend when you are qualified, then they send you for training, and it's required maybe 1 year, 2 years. It depends. Some are today. One person graduated, started in 2019, and this is 2023. So for him, it took 4 years. It depends.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All glories to the Srila Prabhupada and Jai Sri Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mata. Thank you, everyone. I'm looking forward to see all of you next Wednesday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpataru Vishrikipa Sindhavavacha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnave. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Praman.